Today, we're going to dive into the incredible story of the Curies, a family that literally changed the world. Their discoveries unlocked the secrets of the atom, but all that knowledge, well, it came at a huge personal cost. This is a story of absolute genius, of sacrifice, and of the double-edged sword that is radioactivity. But let's kick things off with a question you've probably seen floating around the internet. The legend goes that Marie Curie's notebooks, which are over 100 years old now, are still so radioactive they have to be stored in lead-lined boxes. It's a wild story. But is there any truth to it? Well, like a lot of things, the real story is a little less sensational, but honestly a lot more fascinating. To really get to the bottom of the notebook mystery, we have to go back to the beginning. We need to understand the incredible journey of the Curies themselves. In that story, it doesn't kick off in some fancy, high-tech lab. Nope, it starts in a drafty, kind of miserable shed in Paris. And it was right here, in these humble, rundown surroundings, that some of the most important scientific work of the 20th century was about to happen. It all begins with Maria Skłodowska, a brilliant young woman from Poland who just had this burning desire for knowledge. At a time when women couldn't get a higher education in her home country, she just packed her bags and went to Paris. And it was there she met Pierre Curie, a physicist who was every bit as brilliant as he was unconventional. They were a perfect match, just two minds completely on fire with curiosity. Their marriage in 1895 was the start of a partnership that would, and this is no exaggeration, change the world. So when it came time for her PhD, Marie decided to go after a brand new mystery. Another scientist, Henri Becquerel, had just found that uranium salts were giving off this strange, invisible energy. What was it? What was this mysterious force? Marie was determined to figure it out, and she gave it a name that we all know today: radioactivity. And get this, in just a few days, Marie had a breakthrough that would completely shake the foundations of physics. Now, you gotta remember, back then, everyone thought the atom was like the end of the line, the smallest possible thing. But Marie realized this radiation wasn't some kind of chemical thing happening on the surface. No, it was coming from inside the atom itself. This was a radical, revolutionary idea, and it totally changed how we think about the universe. The whole focus of physics shifted from molecules down to this mysterious subatomic world. But the plot thickens. While she was studying different minerals, Marie noticed something really weird. A lump of pitchblende, this uranium ore, was way, way more radioactive than it should have been. Her conclusion? It was bold. It was brilliant. There had to be a new, undiscovered element hiding inside of it, and whatever it was, it had to be incredibly powerful. So what came next? Oh man, it was just an epic amount of pure, hard work. For 4 years, Marie and Pierre toiled away in that shed, processing literal tons of industrial waste. They would grind it, dissolve it, filter it, over and over and over again in this painstaking effort to isolate just one new element. After 4 long years of backbreaking labor, they finally had their prize: a tiny little speck of radium chloride, just 1/10 of a gram. Now, despite the awful conditions, we're talking a leaky, drafty shed full of toxic fumes, Marie later wrote that these were the best and happiest years of their lives. Their shared passion for discovery basically turned this miserable workplace into their own little scientific paradise. It's just an incredible testament to their dedication. But that incredible discovery and all the fame that came with it, well, it came with a terrible, terrible price. So, in 1903, the world finally catches on. The Nobel Prize in Physics is awarded to the Curies and Henri Becquerel. But while the prize brought them some much-needed money, it also unleashed a total storm of unwanted attention. Now, Pierre, he was a quiet guy. He just wanted to do his research in peace. So for him, this new life was, in his own words, stupid. He wrote to a friend about being hounded by reporters, how their peaceful life was just completely shattered. Marie called it an invasion of publicity. For them, it was a disaster. But the publicity was just one part of the problem. Something else, something invisible, was taking a toll on their bodies. They were tired all the time. Their hands were raw and burned from handling the radioactive samples. Pierre was suffering from this agonizing pain in his legs. They didn't know it at the time, of course, but they were experiencing the early stages of radiation sickness. And then, in 1906, the absolute unthinkable happened. On a rainy day in Paris, Pierre, who was already weakened by years of radiation exposure, slipped. He fell right into the path of a horse-drawn carriage. He was killed instantly. Marie, at just 38 years old, was suddenly a widow with 2 young daughters and a massive scientific legacy to carry on all by herself. But Marie Curie, she was a fighter. She refused to be broken. In the face of all that grief and all the challenges of being a woman in a man's world, she just poured all her energy into her work and into a new mission: saving lives. And the year 1911, man, what a roller coaster. It shows you exactly what she was up against. In France, she gets nominated for the super prestigious Academy of Sciences, but she's rejected after this nasty public campaign fueled by sexism and anti-immigrant hate. But in that same year, the rest of the world saw her genius. She was awarded a second Nobel Prize, this time in chemistry, making her the first person ever to win the award in 2 different scientific fields. So when World War I breaks out, Marie immediately sees how her science can save lives. X-rays could help doctors find shrapnel in wounded soldiers, but the machines were all stuck in big city hospitals. So Marie has this brilliant idea. She creates mobile X-ray units. She gets cars, equips them with the latest tech, and even trains a team of 150 women, including her own teenage daughter, to operate them on the front lines. These little mobile X-ray units became known as les Petites Curies, or the Little Curies, and the impact was just staggering. It's estimated that they were used to treat over 1 million wounded soldiers, saving countless lives and limbs. It was this incredible humanitarian achievement, all because of the ingenuity of one amazing woman. Marie Curie passed away in 1934, her body finally giving out after a lifetime of radiation exposure. But her legacy? Wow. It was already set in stone, not just in the world of science, but in the remarkable family she had raised. Which brings us all the way back to where we started. So what about those supposedly deadly notebooks? Are they really some kind of ticking time bomb locked away in lead-lined boxes in a Paris library? All right, so thanks to modern science, we actually have the answer. The notebooks are definitely contaminated with radium-226. But how dangerous are they really? Well, let's break it down. If you did something crazy, like, I don't know, eat the notebook cover, which please don't, you'd get a dose of radiation that's a bit more than the annual safe limit for a radiation worker. Not great, but not deadly. And if you just touched it, you'd get a radiation dose that's about the same as what you get from just living on Earth for 2 days. So the whole lead-lined box thing, it's really just being extra careful. The myth is way more exciting than the reality. So you see, the real story here isn't about some radioactive notebook. It's about a scientific dynasty. The Curies' passion for discovery was literally passed down through the generations. Their daughter Irene and her husband won their own Nobel Prize in 1935. The family's legacy is so huge, they even have their own element on the periodic table, curium. And maybe the best way to wrap this up is with some words from Pierre Curie himself. In his Nobel Prize speech, he admitted there was a dark side to their discovery, wondering if humanity was really ready for this kind of powerful knowledge. But he ended on a hopeful note, saying, "I am one of those who believe that mankind will derive more good than harm from the new discoveries." It's a message of hope and of caution that feels more relevant today than ever. From a humble shed in Paris all the way to the battlefields of World War I, the Curious story is just this incredible testament to the power of human curiosity. Their discoveries changed our world, for better and for worse. And it leaves us with one final big question. What secrets is nature waiting to reveal to the next generation of seekers? And what will we do with that knowledge when we find it?